All right, guys, we're here live from the warehouse at Selecto Hits. It's me and Jeff, and joined us tonight is Al Capone.
Al Capone. Oh boy, what's my other names?
Scarface Al Capone.
Is it?
Al Capone spelled with a K.
Yeah. And Scarface Al just without the Capone. That's
Scarface
another one.
Al, yeah.
Scarface Al.
Mr. Whoop That Trick.
Oh,
Mr. Whoop That Trick.
Yeah,
original, the real voice of the Grizzlies.
Real talk. That's me. You hear me? So,
Mr. Originator, Gangster Rap.
I mean, well, hold up now. Let's. I'm not gonna take all of those titles and credits, but I did play a part. You know what I'm saying? In the Memphis rap scene, I was one of those early dudes that was around shaping, or playing a part of shaping the sound that became known as the Memphis underground rap sound. So, yeah, man. Hey, number one, I want to say thank y'all for having me at this podcast. You know what I'm saying? You know, I go back with both of y'all, and of course, Selecto Hits. So, it's an honor to be the first guest. And man, fire away, man. I'm ready for you, man. Throw it at me, man.
Oh yeah, we love it. It's all family. And
Likewise.
like you said, we've known you for, my gosh, I mean,
Many moons.
a long time.
We try not to give ages of
We're
it.
not going to give away ages. We're not going to give away ages. But, back in the days, throwing the bones and, a little bit of E&J Brandy.
Man, I'm surprised we ain't got bones. This is the perfect bones table, man.
Wow,
Yes, it
this
is.
is the perfect table.
I'm talking about perfect. So,
Wow.
yeah, man.
Yeah, that's shooting it way back.
Yeah. So, man, it's like I said, it's an honor to be a part of the first one because definitely, being here at Selecto Hits, this was, where I kind of got my feet wet in learning the distribution game early on in my career. So, it's near and dear to my heart, man. Can I be sentimental?
Oh, please do. Well, and talking about the early days, like how did it all originate with you and Selecto Hits?
Well, it started, I actually started out as an independent artist that built up a name with this song called Lyrical Drive-By. And from there, I caught the eye of Larry Clark and Eli Ball. I remember it was a specific show that I performed at. I was opening up for Gangsta Pat. One of he was the top dog, you know what I'm saying? So my guy, he was at the radio station, downtown Jackson Brown. I think he reached out to me. Yeah, he had to reach out to me and ask if I would come and, perform that song. We were in Bolivar, Tennessee. And of course it was Gangsta Pat. I'm like, man, because I'm looking up to Gangsta Pat, like, man, I'm opening up for this big Memphis rapper, man. I can't for those. So I go there and do my performance, and no one expected the performance that I gave them. And I tell a lot of people in the early days, I used to have this long curl. It was not a Jerry curl. It was the upper echelon of curls. We called it the nouveau curl, It was a nouveau curl. So I had the long curl. I had a mouthful of gold teeth. And I used to wear, cool outfits and stuff like that. So I come to that to perform. I'm the underdog. They're knowing the song, but nobody had really seen me. So when I go out there, I just go crazy like a rock and roll dude. I'm just throwing my hair and jumping around, and the crowd just exploded like, my God! And the crowd just went crazy. And Larry Clark was there, Eli Ball was there. And I think at that moment, it caught their eye like, whoa, what the hell is going on right in this moment? And I just caught their attention. And at that point, Eli, I can't remember because it was so early. Well, I was working with Larry at the time. So Eli Ball got in touch with Larry Clark and wanted to see if I would come down. He had this studio downtown called the Warehouse Studio. And the label was called Outlaw Records. So he asked would we come down there. He wanted to talk about, doing a deal with us. And my reason for going down there was really because SMK was already recording down there. SMK is the guy that I worked with on the music for Lyrical Drive-By. and a few other songs. So in my mind, if we made this magic with this song that was blowing me up on the streets and spread, getting me outside of Memphis, let's continue that magic. So I wanted to work with SMK. That was really my real reason for wanting to go down there. I wanted to finish working on some music with SMK and coming up with some more heat.
SMK, a pioneer. I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, dude was.
Exactly.
I mean, now for sure. Like you think of him and you think of the Gangsta Walk, and
Definitely. And think about SMK is actually from Rochester, New York, and he ended up working with this guy from Florida, Kid Money, and they did the song Gangsta Walk. Now, I know a lot of people know them from the song Gangsta Walk, but I always had to give DJ Spanish Fly his props because he was actually before me and Gangsta Pat. Spanish Fly was a DJ, but he was making his own mixtape, so he was rapping and stuff on his mixtapes. And he had a song called Gangsta Walk 2 at the time because the club that he was DJing at is actually where the Gangsta Walk kind of, I guess that's when it kind of became the Gangsta Walk because the guys from the hoods, every part of Memphis, that's where they all went to, and the Gangsta Walk kind of formed there. So it's only right that he probably made the song Gangsta Walk first because it was on an underground mixtape. But anyway, SMK Kid Money, they can only tell the story how they got wind of it, but they made their version of the Gangsta Walk and hit it right on the head. The beat was hitting hard. They added the get book, the chant in there along with it, because that was like the chant that everyone did when they did when they was gangster walking in the circle. They always say get book, get book. So they had all of those elements in there. So by the time they released that song, it blew up. So I'm saying that to say, even though they were not from Memphis, Memphis 100% adopted SMK. Kid Money wasn't really here that much, so we didn't really see Kid Money that much. But SMK, he planted his flag here, and we all embrace him as a Memphian
for sure.
Because he just representing. Of course, he went on to make his own Gangsta Walk version of that song, and he released his first. If I'm not mistaken, he released his first album through Selecto Hills. Is that correct?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was his first album, but we had KMSM. That was their group.
Exactly. That was the group that did that. Kid Money, SMK, KMSM.
The black.
Hold on. Who brought them in the beginning? Now let me interview
now we're
you.
going down the rabbit hole. Now we're going down the rabbit hole of how KMSM, the Black Enemy name, the Black Enemy. That's the name of the album.
Exactly.
That was like 92, 91, 92. I don't remember.
Was that did Calvin bring them here, or James, or did James Alexander bring them?
Calvin Rhodes. It might have been Calvin Rhodes. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna speak on it because we don't know.
Because we don't
sure.
know, but I know we had the album.
Yeah. So that's just shows how early on in the Memphis rap game that you all were in, as far as helping get these records out, further than Memphis, in Memphis and further than Memphis. So back to SMK. I knew he was one of the artists producing and making music at the Warehouse / Outlaw Records. So he was the reason why I wanted to go there. And at some point, a deal was made and put together, and we did the deal. And I was signed to Outlaw Records at that point. So, working in the Warehouse, we was pretty much just in the studio, just vibing, making music, working with SMK. Neil Jones was there at the time. I don't know if you remember Neil Jones.
Hey, a special thanks to our sponsor, Prime Transportation Group.
So let me go back to, so you were asking me about was I fish? What did you say? A fish or what?
Fishitarian.
Fishitarian.
Didn't I hear you mumble that one time?
I think it's pescatarian.
Oh, okay. Well, I screwed that all up.
Hey, but I'm gonna start using fishitarian. I think people would know people that don't know what pescatarian mean will understand what a fishitarian mean before they understand what a pescatarian.
Maybe I just took it there. Maybe I was like, wait, what is that? And you told me, and I said, so basically a fishitarian.
Yeah,
and
pretty
maybe
much.
it just stuck
Pretty
that
much.
way.
Well, I got into just on some food on a health level. I really got into being, I guess, vegan because I think there's a difference between vegan and vegetarian. But I got heavy into being a vegan, and actually as a dare to myself, it was like, can I do this for a week? And it went from a week to, many years. I would say like 6-7 years. So, and enjoyed it the whole time. But at some point, I just decided, you know what? I think a little baked fish won't hurt, so I added it. That's when I became a pescatarian. And then it was about a year later, like, you know what? Baked chicken ain't bad. That ain't bad. Just take some skin off, We keeping it healthy. I was in Atlanta for a moment, and I remember coming back to Memphis, and I passed Tops. And I was like, man, I remember Tops used to have some good cheeseburgers. I'm going to pull over and try one now. It's been too long. So I pulled over like, hey, I got the cheeseburger with my grilled onions, everything. Man, I promise you, I bit into that burger. I said, oh, my God. What in the hell have I been doing to myself all this? Yeah, I was back. So, I had my run, and who knows, I might go back on it. But I'm still very aware of how much, you know what I'm saying? So if I even get to a point where I feel like I'm eating too much unhealthy, food, I make sure I take the time to balance it out by eating really healthy and, just making sure it's a balance to me now at this point.
Well,
so I guess, go ahead.
No, everything's fine in moderation, though. I mean,
exactly.
I used to be, there was a time that I was just all clean eating. I'd cheat like Thanksgiving or Christmas. Mm-hmm. And then one day it was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's like I can still maintain a healthy lifestyle and enjoy a cheat day, a cheat meal, a couple cheat days, go out of town and eat whatever for a week and not feel guilty about it. So,
it's, like you said, moderation. That's what I figured out too. Is like it's all about moderation at the end of the day, and that's the level I kind of base my diet off of now. So now that y'all know how I like to eat food,
so yes, kids, eat.
Let's
in
go.
Moderation.
We're back to the warehouse at Outlaw Records now.
And yeah, we are. We're back. We're
Here
back.
we are.
One thing I want to say about that though, you mentioned that they didn't expect to see you coming. Like they didn't know what they were going to see, and they see the curls and the gold teeth and the bounce.
Yeah.
You literally, I've been to so many shows, and there's people that could come to your shows and not know half the songs and have a great time because of the energy that you bring. I mean, it's amazing. But I mean, it really is. I mean, and I'm not. I mean, we've known each other a long time, but I'm being real. Like, I mean, am I wrong? I mean, that the shows are so much fun, and just you can take so many different people and say, hey, somebody's in town. Hey, you need to check this out. You know, you've heard of Al Capone. You've heard Whoop That Trick. You've heard Hustle and Flow. All these different things. Like, come see it. Come see what this is all about. I mean, so when you said that, that's the first thing I thought of. Just all the energy that you always bring to everything, no matter what you do. So,
hey, well, that's I'm actually I still experience that to this day. Like you just said, where it's people that have come to the show that probably never heard of me before, but they may have heard of certain things that I was a part of. And when I finished performing, they would come up to me like, oh, man, I didn't know, but I loved it and this and that. And I think that's a part of what I love about performing, the energy I try. First, I like to give the energy in a way where I'm always looking at it as if I was in the crowd. And if I was in the crowd, I would want to watch a show that I'm feeling entertained and connected with. So I try to perform as if I'm the audience member and I'm there to entertain the audience. I'm not relying on if they know my songs or not. I'm actually relying on the fact that they don't know my songs, but at the end of the day, I want them to feel entertained enough to remember me. So that's how I go on stage to perform. And for all these years, even like we're saying, from those very early days, that was, I guess, my way of promoting myself through the shows connect with people that never heard of me, and hopefully they'll leave that performance feeling like, man, I want to know more about him and more about his music. Actually, DJ Paul spoke on, that was one of the first times he had heard of me is by seeing one of my shows back in the day before they was rapping. Before they were rapping, maybe they were rapping, but they hadn't built up a name or anything. But he said he saw one of my shows. He was like, man, I saw this guy performing. He had a few other guys. Actually, Crunchy Black was one of my dancers at the time. And, they was like high energy. And he said he became a fan of mine from watching the show for the first time. So, I'm just saying that to say I do pride myself on, entertaining. I want to entertain my audience, and also I try to make sure that I'm, without saying it, I try to make sure I do something that includes. I want to be inclusive. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be, I want every race, every gender, every age group to be able to come to my show and, all feel the entertainment on the same level and feel like, in some way we all came together and united and connected, through my performance. So that's another thing I feel great about, and I enjoy doing it. Been doing it from the jump. A lot of firsts. I was telling y'all about that first time performing Lyrical Drive-By. I was one of the first people that was performing at places, rock venues, like Antenna Club. It was no other rappers was performing in those rock venues at the time, and I was like one of the first ones. And I was able to connect with the audience that, they didn't come to see a rap show. I was opening up for people like Neighborhood Texture Jam. I was opening up for people like Big Ass Truck and those type of groups. And Mother's Day Out and Son of Slam. I'm tripping. They was my label mates. Groups like that, and performing in their space. But I always had the mindset that I want to connect with everyone some kind of way through the energy and through the performance, and I guess through my feeling of I want to connect with you. It made them. They were able to connect with me, and it always worked out that way. So I'm very happy to be, able to cross genres, and cross those barriers and everything, and do my little part to show we are in this together in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and our goal is to find that medium, and man, let's for this moment we're gonna kumbaya and to whoop that trick. Totally, but yeah, we kumbaya in the name of whooping tricks and all that good stuff.
Well, I mean, but you're still doing that. You're still incorporating. Like we last talked, I ran into you up here, and you had just gotten back from Nashville from meeting with like some country artists.
Yep.
That wanted to
Yep.
do something with you. I've heard stuff, seen video YouTubes and different things that you've got blues and rock and different things mixed in. So you've been doing that for a long time.
Long time, man. I love just all vibes and forms of music. It's been a gift and it's been a curse. The gift has been, the curse has been most audiences want a certain, once they connect with a certain sound and vibe, that's what they want from you. And I think the part that hurt me for wanting to do a lot of different styles was I never was able to just lock into that one audience and then just keep giving them that. And I feel like a lot of artists around me were able to, they were able to focus more. I feel like 3 6 Mafia did a great job at, finding that sound and, just keep hitting the audience with that sound and style, and, and they did phenomenal. So I think that part hurt me because I was so open to do different vibes and styles, and certain audiences be like, okay, we like that sound and style, and now he's doing this sound and style. I don't know about that, but then this audience like, oh, we like that, The gift is I personally feel like it has, in its own way, it kept me with some level of relevance, because it's other artists that stuck to one sound and style, and that sound and style kind of came and went, and they weren't able to keep up. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to, use. I had the vibe to be able to work in different spaces, and working in those different spaces kept me kind of going. So the gift is, being versatile can keep you, just keep you alive, keep you in spaces, and it broadens your audience. That's what I was looking for. It broadened my audience so much that it just put me in a space where it's almost like you can't box me into a certain style. So when that style goes out of style, I'm always able to, reinvent myself in a way that somebody's going to gravitate and say, hey, but we like that. And it always kept me going. It kept me performing. It kept me, doing shows in a lot of different places that a lot of my counterparts, if they didn't make it past a certain level, if certain people didn't mention them, or certain people from that era hadn't heard them, when it comes to a new era, a new time period, a lot of people kind of don't remember them. So, yeah.
Well, my thing is, I mean, from somebody that's just a consumer standpoint, the transition and all the different genres that you bring in more exhibits talent. The way you're able to do that. For me, I like such a wide variety of music, like from everything from rap to blues, not so much country, but rock, so many different things. So for me, like that constant change is great. Like you said, some artists, in my opinion, they stick in one lane. Sometimes it's what they're talking about, not necessarily their style, but what they're talking about never changes. Mm-hmm. People get older, people change, people grow through life, and you've got to change with that. And you found a way to do that as long as I've known you. I mean, it's always been that way for all these years. Yeah. So, like I said, I think it's great the way that you're able to do that when so many people can't. They just get stagnant in one thing.
And also incorporating the band. That's something we haven't talked about yet.
Hey, man. I mean, that's all a part of, performing with a band it came along with having those live instruments in the studio with me when I'm recording music. And now we can, from that, we can go back to when I first started recording at Outlaw Records. That's how we started. Like I said, I was working with SMK. I was working with Neil Jones. Neil Jones played a lot of instruments, and he was an excellent engineer. So we would make songs, and we'll have the live bass guitar in it. We'll have live lead guitar. We'll have just all the live band elements from going all the way back to those days. And at some point, we released the Street Knowledge album, and I had the lead single Another Lyrical Drive-By that did some great numbers, and was able to get me out there more. And the only thing when I did Street Knowledge, that's when I learned early that doing too many different styles at that time was probably it worked against me, because that's when I first realized that. And I heard this from Lord Infamous. Lord Infamous came to the studio one day, and he was saying, man, where's man, you got to do more of that underground. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing a lot of the underground on this Street Knowledge album. And I had a couple of songs on there like that, but then I had, I just was doing a lot of different vibes, and I wasn't just talking about the streets. I was talking about real life. I'll talk about the streets, or coming up in the streets, but I was talking about how we need to come out the streets. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't talking about, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, you know what I'm saying? We on, I wasn't just focused on the negative aspect. I was focused on, okay, this is the environment we in, but we got to do better to get out of this environment. Of course, the streets, they was like, man, what the heck?
They weren't listening to you. Right?
And then think about this, I'm young, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, in my late teens, early 20s, and I'm talking with too much sense. And you got this young audience, they don't want to hear that at that time. And then I'm doing all these different styles. So Lord Infamous was the first person that said something to me about it. And I remember after he was the first person that really, and I was like, man, I appreciated it. Because the way he came to me like he was coming to me as a fan and was like, man, I just want to, we want to hear you do more of that underground stuff. So from there, I started working on the Pure Ghetto Anger album. And it was called Pure Ghetto Anger because I was kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, these folks think I ain't coming hard no more. So I go in with the whole attitude, I'm coming hard on this, I ain't on Pure Ghetto Anger. So I made this underground record that was totally opposite from the Street Knowledge record. It was more underground, more hardcore. And actually, Outlaw wasn't going to release it. Me and Larry said, okay, we just going to release it. So we had like maybe 500 cassettes pressed up at the time. So we just kind of put that out. But right at that moment, and it was starting to get a buzz, but right at that moment, that's when Eli ended up talking to Johnny Phillips, Selecto, your pops. I don't know if Johnny came to him or he came to Johnny, some kind of way. They were talking about, Johnny wanted to pick me up as an artist. So once that got worked out, that's how I ended up on Basics Music, which was a Selecto Hits label. And they were actually going to re-put out Pure Ghetto Anger. Well, I was like, nah, man, if I'm finna go to Selecto, and think about this, we were just doing cassettes at the time. By the time I came to Selecto, CDs was starting to get popular. So I'm like, man, if I'm going to Selecto and we're going to be putting out CDs, it's going to be my first CD. Man, I need to go back in the studio. So I end up saying, no, we're not doing Pure Ghetto Anger. We're going to work on a whole new album. And that's how Sinister Funk came about.
Great album.
Yeah,
Man.
so that's, if I was just on some whatever, Pure Ghetto Anger would have came out, Sinister Funk would have never came out. But I was like, no, we got to come even harder. That's when I was doing like Cold Hearted Killer. That was me speaking on, man, y'all, you thought I fell off. I'm going extra hard on that. But at the same time, I was like, but still, I still like this. I like this, the soulful music because I always felt like Memphis, we come from a city that's rich on soul music. So I'm like, I can't, and blues and stuff like that, I can't only focus on the dark underground sound. So I'm like, okay, let me mix it up. That's then the album Sinister Funk. So you got half sinister sounding songs, you have half funky soulful sounding songs. But I knew I was still gonna try to come hard on every one of them, even though I did the different vibes on that. And Sinister Funk was born, and I feel like to this day that is one of those records you can listen to, and the quality and the sound is, something you can listen to right to this day and say, man, that was a great record.
Well, what comes to mind is the live stuff. I forget the song. It's got a hard ass the bass line.
Man, we got Take a Pull for the doom 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 full of endo. That's a hard ass groove. For the Love of Money, that's another hard ass groove.
Who were some of the musicians on that one?
Oh man, don't give me the line. I know Neil Jones played on it, but I cannot tell you all the different musicians that played on it. But we did have a lot of original Memphis musicians that played on a lot of hits, soulful hits that played on that album. But I can't say who all they were outside of Neil. Coming Real With It, that was another where we actually had live horns playing on it, and you know what I'm saying? It was, so all of the live music part was live music, which at some point I knew I was gonna be able to do shows with a band because I was used to recording with the live musicians. But at the same time, I was like, I can't neglect. Lord Infamous made me remember I can't neglect the dark, sinister sounding song. So, like I said, you got Sinister Funk and Cold Hearted Killer and Still Loking Up. So I know it was a balance of both sides. So it was a little, I know both vibes are part of Al Kapone.
Gotcha.
So that was Sinister Funk was the first album that I actually released after signing to Basics with Selecto Hits, and that record did very well for me. It put me in cities far beyond Memphis that I would have never, and that was I would say that was the beauty of Selecto Hits too. They were able to get those records in record stores that I could have never did, or we could have never did on the independent level. We were able to do stuff in Memphis and the surrounding areas, but the record was out in Texas and California and a lot of places that I still had never been at, especially at that point in time. But they played a big part of getting those albums out there. Selecto had a strong distribution network at the time.
Resurrection.
Oh,
was that with Priority?
So okay, Sinister Funk. After Sinister Funk came out, it was doing this thing, and I think at some point, Selecto got something going with Priority. I can't say Johnny knows more than I know, but I was already signed to Selecto, so I remember him coming to me and saying, Priority, they want to, release some rap records of ours. We want to re-release. Technically, they wanted to re-release Sinister Funk, and here I am again, like, man, we're going to Priority. Yeah. Man, we got to re-release it. But at that moment, it was like, you know what? Because I think I realized that the dark, wicked, sinister sound of Memphis had started getting more popular at that. I think 3-6 was, they were really coming up at the time, and then I was hearing, I just knew that sound, and I had already, I did that sound on songs. I did that sound on songs on earlier albums. Sinister Funk was the first time I did like a half and half, but by the time the Resurrection came, and I knew it was coming out through Priority, I'm like, man, I'm going all dark on this one. We're gonna go all dark. So technically we used some of the songs from Sinister Funk. Instead of doing re-releasing Sinister Funk, I said, okay, let's just take some songs off Sinister Funk, and I'm gonna add some more of that dark underground sound to that album. And I'm gonna go in the graveyard. I'm gonna take some shots in front of those graveyard. I'm tripping. Hey man, I was, once I connect with a vibe and a style, I'm all in. It's like I gotta sell this idea. It's like painting art. It's like, man, the art is this, so it's got to be this to the fullest. So, I was all in. So, took the album cover in the graveyards, and I said, man, we're gonna call this the Resurrection, because I felt like it was almost like I'm coming back. I'm fully hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. Cause I'm still thinking about the whole time from each album. I'm thinking about what Lord Infamous said. I'm like, man, Lord Infamous said. They say I ain't coming hard. So every time I'm like, I'm trying to come harder and harder. You're never gonna say this about me. So that's how the Resurrection it ended up coming out through Priority. Distributed through Priority, but it was still a Selecto project. And man, that album, to this day, it has like this cult following of people that they rank that album as one of the top 10 dark underground albums that kind of shaped the sound of that dark underground Memphis sound. Or I say the dark underground sound in general for us. Underground music, they're named The Resurrection along with Mystic Styles and several other albums. So to this day, it has its own little cult following.
For sure.
So that's how that came about.
Hey guys, we want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Memphis International Records.
So I just want to speak on the resurrection. Right around the time when I was recording that album, I remember recording a few songs at Sam Phillips studio, and I remember recording with Roland at the time, and I literally, Johnny had set it up for me to go, and I remember pulling up for the first time and walking into the studio, and I seeing these specific colors that it was all like this color thing. I can't remember, some pastel type of colors, and I feel like I was transported back into like the whatever vibe they was in when they was recording with Elvis, and Roland was telling me all these stories. He was showing me different places. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm mentally blown away. Like I'm in the studio that Elvis recorded some of his music in, and I'm working with one of the engineers. So to me, that was historic to be able to say that, I actually recorded with that engineer, and he was sharing some of the stories with me, and we like literally connected on a cool vibe to the point where I look forward to going, and he was looking forward to me coming there and working, and we created some cool vibes and everything. So I just wanted to mention how unique that was to be able to record some of the Resurrection album at Sam Phillips studio, right up the street from Sun Studio. So that was pretty cool.
He's a legend, man. He's a legend. He goes back. He goes way back in the day. He's great. He was great.
Well, see, anybody that knows, they know what he stood for, and the mark that he left as an engineer. If you don't know, I think you should, do some history and, learn a little bit more about Roland, and, the way he recorded and everything. So it was an honor to be, to say I was a part of, somewhere along the line, I was a part of his history, because he has a hell of a history.
Absolutely does.
Well, and that can be said for a lot of big name people that you've encountered and done projects with that you've been
very blessed, man. Very blessed.
Become part of their history. I mean, like, what was you linked up with E40?
E40 started hearing about me as an independent artist, and he reached out to me to be on the Southwest Riders compilation. He had major artists, but he wanted to have independent up-and-coming artists. So he reached out to me, and I was able to deliver a song to be on that on that album. From there, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a compilation. Because I know some underground Bay Area artists, and I know artists here in Memphis. I'm gonna call it Memphis to the Bombed Out Bay. So I did this Memphis to the Bombed Out Bay compilation. Blake did this amazing cover. I was like, man, I want the Bay Bridge, and I want the Memphis Bridge to connect.
Absolutely.
And I want to be in the middle. And he laid that artwork out so beautiful. I love looking at it to this day, because he did a great job on it. So I was able to take that the product. That was another beautiful thing I would say Selecto did. They were always able to make sure I had posters, flyers, and I had promo CDs and cassettes. So I was able to actually go to different record stores and actually promote, hang my posters and stuff on the walls at the record stores, on the windows, so when people come by, they could see it. So I took that, and I literally got on the Greyhound bus. I had a cousin that lived in Sacramento, and I told him I want to come out there and promote this album. He was like, yeah, come on. So I literally got on the Greyhound bus with a Foot Locker trunk. It was a black Foot Locker trunk, and I put everything in there, and I got that bus ticket. Rode 3 days, man, on the Greyhound bus to the Bay. Oh my God! If you ever Greyhound, I'm just gonna say it like it is, man. Hey, that ain't no fun ride for three days. My knees was buckling because you tight on the bus, but we had little stops or whatever. But I was determined. I'm like, I'm going out there. I'm going to promote this Memphis to the Bombed Out Bay, and through getting out there and promoting and going out to different. I was in San Francisco. I was in Vallejo. I was in just all the different places in the Bay Area, and I ended up meeting up with E40 at a picnic that he was doing, and from there I had all my promo stuff. Like I said, that was a good thing. I had like top-notch promo stuff that major labels will have. So he saw that I was out there promoting my stuff, and he saw I was on the professional quality and everything. I think that kind of caught his attention. He was like, man, I'm going to send my brother to pick you up later to come to the studio and let's vibe on some music. So that's how I ended up, I met him before through Southwest. I didn't meet him. I talked to him on the phone, and I just sent him music. But this was my first time meeting him personally. And through my hustle, I think he kind of saw my hustle and was like, man, I'm going to send my brother to pick you up. And, we developed a relationship, and, to this day, we still cool to this day.
That story sounds like an aspiring actor that goes out to Los Angeles and they have all their stuff in a bag, and they're like, I'm going to make it or I'm not going to come back.
Exactly. So that was an amazing story. And the crazy part, like I said, me and E40, we kept a great relationship to this day. And it's ironic, we're speaking at a time where the Memphis Grizzlies, I became the face, the hip hop face of Memphis Grizzlies with the Whoop That Trick as the unofficial chant of the fans. And we end up going against Golden State Warriors, and E40 is like the face of the hip hop face of the Golden State Warriors. So we were literally calling each other trash talking to each other, kind of, yeah, we gonna get you tonight, yeah, you better be ready, what I'm saying. And so or when somebody was like, if I felt like we were winning toward the end, I call her, yeah, we got y'all tonight. Or he'll call me if they win. So it's cool that our friendship go back that far, and we still, got that friendship today. And now we got this friendly competition between Memphis and Golden State.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, man, it was really happening. Like,
That's really cool.
Even when Steph Curry was like, we're gonna come to Memphis and whoop that trick. I was like, oh, hell no, you ain't coming to no, sir.
and we have to talk about the when you did the song, when you were on the court. I think it was.
That's that's what happened though.
Draymond Green.
Draymond jumped in, but my focus was on Steph because Steph said he was coming to Memphis and whoop that trick.
That was great.
And my mind said that whole time, man, when I get on, in my mind, I'm like, when I know they're going to have me, they already let me know they want me to come out and hype the crowd up like they normally do. And so when I went out there, I already had my mindset, I'm going to say something on the mic. Yeah, Steph, you talk about, because the Grizzlies had murdered them that night, you know what I'm saying? It was like, we was up like 40 points or something, and it was like the fourth quarter. It was no way they were coming back. So by the time I'm getting whooped, the crowd turned up and whoop that trick. So I'm going around. As soon as I go around, I done had no idea I was gonna see him. I just happened to see him. I was like, whoa, there he is. I'm like, man, I'm gonna make you eat the words right now. I was looking right in his. I'm looking dead at his face, but he wasn't giving me the same eye contact. He was kind of looking down, smiling like, oh, man, he got me. Then Draymond Green come in smiling like, whoop that trick. So it was a great moment. You know what I'm saying?
Classic.
It was fun. Oh. It was all love. But I had to do it, man. I did that one for Memphis and the Mid-South. Man, don't you ever talk about you coming to Memphis to whoop that trick, man. Don't you do that, man.
That clip made the rounds like I've never seen.
It was crazy.
It was so funny. It was great. I think I texted you the next day.
It was crazy. Oh, man, my phone was blowing up.
Oh, there's no way. It was all over the news. Even the newscasters, some of the people that they would, we're going to whoop that trick tonight. We're going to whoop that trick tonight. And it's just like, it's sort of that just big
TMZ
smile.
Ended up calling me. I was like, no way, TMZ done hit me up. At first, I thought I didn't think it was real. I was like, man, maybe this is somebody playing. They just trying to clout chase real quick. So, ironically, I called E40. So, I'm like, man, I know 40 know the people at TMZ, so I called him. I was like, man, could you make sure, I said, somebody from TMZ want to talk to me about, everything that just happened. Could you verify that this person is who they are? So, he called the head person at TMZ in the newsroom area, and we were on three-way. He was like, yeah, this is Al Kapone. He said such and such. Reached out to him about, talking about the whole thing that transpired with him and Steph and whoop that trick and all that. And the guy was like, yeah, that guy was right next to us. I was like, okay, it's real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, their friendship with me and E40 at a time when we were like literally rivalries. But, I can still call him and, it's all love. So, you know what I'm saying? To this day, man, we built a bond and we still have a bond. It's just when we go against, when it's Memphis against Golden State, man, we against each other right now.
Well, they got the better of us, but now they looking like they might get the better of the Celtics. I guess they're up 3-2.
Well, listen, when Golden State is not playing Memphis, I rock with Golden State. But when they playing Memphis, is zero understanding. It's Memphis
All day.
So yeah, man. So that's the whole thing with E40, man. But outside of E40, of course, I mean, it's so many different people, man. I had a chance to meet and vibe with and work with, and I'm sure at some point y'all can bring me back and we can talk about, because there's so many and there's so many stories. I can go on for days, but to this day, I'm still here. I appreciate being here. I would say again, I learned a lot being here at Selecto Hits, because I was actually working in the warehouse, when sending product out, and I was able to see how a distribution company works from the inside and how one sheets and stuff was done, and I learned a lot, and it helped me to be able to. It just helped me on because I was always an independent artist. After the contract ended as a signed artist with Selecto, I just started doing it independently. But I learned how to be independent because I was up here to learn. And from that point on, I started putting out, the Memphis drama compilations, Taylor Boyd stuff. I continue to release some of my own records, and so I was able to learn the independent game and how all of that worked from being a signed artist here. So, and I never take that experience away. I appreciate the experience.
Yeah, that's great. And the Going All Out album.
Exactly.
Speaking of E40.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was such, I mean,
that
that
album,
was, what an album.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Like I said, again, we talking about E40 Water, man. He really, embraced me as a Memphis artist and, took the time to let me record, some great songs. I had it's a lot of songs that didn't make the album that still I listen to, and it's like, man, those some good records that didn't make the album. But yeah, Going All Out was a great album. Having Pen and Pixel at the time to do the artwork, I think they delivered on the vision that I had. So yeah, that whole project was really cool, man.
Yeah,
really cool.
Because me, Blake, and Wes, I think Wes, but me and Blake for sure would go to the House of Blues while you were recording.
Yep.
And I think Neil.
Yep,
Neil was there.
Neil was there.
That was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, that was a fun album to listen to with you, watching your energy, hearing it while we're playing Bones and doing different things, hanging out back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So
we'd always
a lot
have
of
that
y'all
going.
heard it before it was released.
Right.
Because y'all was around when I was recording and everything.
Oh, man, yeah. I remember those days coming by the house. You didn't live that far from Wes. And
exactly.
we'd come by there all the time.
Yep.
Man, it's hard to believe that we're this far down the road.
Man, we here, man. We here. And, man, like I said, we got history. And, you know what I'm saying? Of course, I got to send a super love and shout out to Wes, man. You already know what it is, man. Man, we had some bones out. We playing it right now. You hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
No, well, we're for sure love that you came to see us. We're glad you're here. We always love you. It's all family, and
man, same here.
And it's not a matter of us having you back. It's a matter of when you're back, you just come back. You just show. You tell us when you're ready. We've got so much to talk about. There's parts 1, 2, like Jeff said. This is part 1 of 10.
Yeah.
With Al Kapone, because it can't all be summed up in one.
There you go. Shout out, man, to the whole Phillips family, man. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Sam, man. What's up, Sam? Sam, you man, put me up on a lot of good game, man. Good wisdom when I was in the warehouse. So shout out to Sam. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole Selecto His family that we used to work with back there, man. Shout out to all y'all, man. Like we're saying right now, it was always family. It was always love. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always here. So whenever you need me, man, I'm here, man. It's all gravy, baby. It's Al Capone, Al Capizzi. Oh, boy.